Well, hey again, everyone. I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a RavensFilm update here to kind of fill in the gap of everything that has not been produced in recent times. And if you watched the Blu-Ray news video I put up recently, I did address generally what's been going on and what's been kind of keeping me from doing regular RavensFilm type of stuff here on the channel here. And basically, there's certain things going on in life that are very turbulent and disruptive and just forcing me to kind of take my life into a bit of a different direction in terms of career, in terms of different things. So certain things are very much occupying my time. They're very paramount to the direction of my life, and that's going to be very important for me getting back to the point where I can get back to producing the regular content that I've always enjoyed doing for you guys for over 3 years now. And I figure at least things are feeling good today. Nice and positive vibe this weekend. And I thought I'd sit down and try to give you a rundown of a little bit of movie reviews, whatnot, of stuff that's been coming out in theaters lately, and just give you a nice little sense of what I've been feeling about some of the recent releases to just kind of throw that vibe back out there, that passion, that fire you guys kind of like for me and everything. And appreciate you guys still sticking around, posting comments, doing all the type of stuff, hitting the subscribe and like button, excuse me, and just keeping the thing going. We're over 1,300 subscribers here, so I very much appreciate that and want to keep something populating the news, the feeds, whatnot, for the subscribers and everything. So just a little bit of that later on, but gonna start off here because things kind of went off the rails right around the time Captain America Civil War was hitting theaters, and that's where kind of the nexus of time is for me at this point. And so I didn't get a chance to do a review of that, even though I did see it on opening weekend. And my opinions about Captain America Civil War are very much based on the expectations and desires that I wanted the film to kind of do for the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe here, because we're 8 years into this whole shared universe that is populated by about a dozen films going into this movie. You kind of get the feeling, at least I did, that you really kind of want to see them kind of like knock it up to the next level, do something more ambitious, something a little bit more radical, take a few risks, and do something that just kind of, something, take a step forward that you can't take a step back on. Do something that just like plants in the ground saying we're doing something to really shake it up, and there's not going to be any kind of safe zone here. I wanted to see something that really kind of just took that big step forward, took a big risk, took a lot of confidence in what they would do, and just do something that could just irrevocably alter everything. And for me, with that kind of feeling going into it, wanting something just like shake up the whole thing, really just do everything very seismic, felt a little let down by the film. I really wanted to see something that just threw away the convention and just really punched out, because I loved Winter Soldier. Fantastic film that I did feel like it knocked it up to a next level. Really kind of solidified it, really was a lot more focused and streamlined. It just really did a very good job of doing everything very, very well and putting forth something that just, at least at the time, felt like it was shaking up the status quo a little bit. Just do something a little bit different. I wanted them to just kind of just amplify that in this film. And there are a lot of good things in Captain America Civil War. Black Panther was great. I liked a lot of the different characters that we still had coming back. A lot of good stuff. I love a lot of the action is pretty good. And a lot of the characters were really well positioned in the storyline to really kind of have the comments that they needed. And obviously, they couldn't be as large as the comic book storyline. This was extremely loosely tied off of, because obviously that had dozens and maybe hundreds of characters in it to really kind of give it that gigantic scope. So they really just had to do as much as they could with the characters that they had to kind of use those interpersonal conflicts and a little bit of ideology, but it didn't feel like they kind of hit as strongly with the ideology as they possibly could be. A little bit like the Batman Superman type of thing, where it felt like they could have really focused the two characters on a ideological conflict instead of having someone behind the scenes manipulating things here and there and just kind of pulling strings, all that kind of stuff. Really prefer if they just kind of Captain America's ideology versus Iron Man's ideology, and they're so vehemently against what they stand for that it splinters them apart, instead of kind of just having it go down to something where Winter Soldier is under mind control and Tony Stark vehemently holds that against him from something they had no control over. It just seemed like it didn't have as much texture to it. It didn't have as much, what do you want to call it, vastness in the landscape of everything. They really continued to have certain characters stand on one side and one on the other. Obviously, the Captain America side is much more about freedom and justice, doing what's right regardless of everything. The Iron Man side ends up being kind of splintered off because everything kind of goes off this way or goes off that way, and whatever the case, it felt like the whole film is a good film. And I will say that, I will repeat that a little later on regarding something, but it's just the fact that for what I was expecting, what I really, really felt like I needed from this film, I didn't really get it. I felt like there needed to be something, some sort of sacrifice or some kind of risk put into the whole makeup of the film. Because a lot of the stuff you see, because a lot of the build up to the whole film, there's a lot of people speculating about someone needs to die in the film. Someone has to have a sacrifice. There has to be some kind of something that you can't go back on. Something that just like there is a casualty in the entire storyline that puts a stake in the ground and just forges the momentum of the story forward. And Marvel Cinematic Universe has been notorious for just kind of keep pulling back on that thing. They kill someone, they bring him back. Phil Coulson dies, they bring him back. Nick Fury, you think he's dead? Well, no, he's not really dead. Or Loki, he's dead, but no, it was just an illusion. They keep pulling back on this thing. And the one time they actually keep it permanent was with their version of Quicksilver, but it was such a thing where, one, the character was barely developed to have much of a resonance with the audience to begin with, and secondly, you become so conditioned at this point to just see that they're faking you out on the death that you're just kind of sitting there through the rest of the film just wondering, okay, when is he just going to be laying in a hospital bed with a couple bandages on him saying, oh, he's fine now, or something like that. It just didn't have any resonance in the film for me personally, so it's just like, I felt like at some point they really need to put a stake in the ground. If they're going to kill off a character, they have to have some kind of resonance and have to make it permanent. I know comic books are notorious for endless resurrections. When you're dead, you're not really dead. Even when they've kept people dead for 20 years, they still bring them back. Whether it's your Jason Todd, whether it's your Bucky Barnes, whoever it is. But for a film, it requires a certain amount of weight and resonance and a certain amount of just putting your stake in the ground, best way I can put it right now, to say, that's it, that's permanent, that's sticking to it. There's not gonna, as the end, that's all there is. And just like, it felt like it needs some sacrifice, needs some risk, a little bit more, push it past that one point, and just, there you go. So, sorry if I'm a little scattered there, but that's almost 2 months ago. But Captain America Civil War, just for my expectations, didn't live up to really what I felt like I really needed, because it feels like Marvel's getting a little complacent, a little kind of like, even though they're kind of changing up with the kinds of films, or it's like a political thriller or it's a space opera, but it just feels like they're kind of living in a little safe box where they don't really want to step too far out, and it's too far out and make a real terrible risk with something that you could maybe regret later. But I just would like to see them do something a little bit more ambitious. And it's like, as many problems as I had with Batman v Superman, where I felt like his level of ambition was detrimental to the overall coherence and cohesion of the film. I felt personally Captain America Civil War played a little too safe for my own comfort zone. That I felt like it was played so safe that it was detrimental to my own enjoyment of the movie. I felt like it just needed more consequence and risk overall. And just like a lot of the conflicts and stuff they get in the film, a lot of these characters, they're just going to reconcile later on and when a big enough threat comes along like Thanos or whatnot, they're going to pat each other on the back, they're going to shake hands and make a truce, and everything's going to be fine by the end of it. And just like, it just doesn't feel like these are splinters in their relationships that are just never going to be able to be healed, or they're going to just be these thorns in their sides forever. It just feels like they'll get over it eventually. So it just didn't seem like it just took enough of a risk, for my opinion. But this next one, because this is Sunday, June 19th, and we got a very bad piece of news today when, shockingly, when I was sitting on a break at work, looking through my social media feed, and saw that Anton Yelchin is dead. And I was just sitting there in the last moments of my break, just shocked. I just uttered shock just seeing the news. I couldn't believe it. It was just, I couldn't process that at the time. It's still a little hard to process. This guy at 27, this really highly promising actor, because I'm talking about Green Room here, which he was a star of. And I just saw it a couple of weeks ago, and just like I'm just smacked upside the head with disbelief that he's dead through some kind of just freak car accident. It's shocking, it's sudden, and it's just been 2016 has just been a very difficult year. We're seeing so many amazing artists just just gone. And there's a list. I couldn't even do half the list justice. I mean, your David Bowie's, your Lemmy Kilmisters, your Glenn Fry's, just the musicians alone, and just the list goes on and on and on and on, and Prince and stuff like that. So it's like hearing this and just knowing Star Trek Beyond is just a couple of weeks away from being released. It's going to be very weird seeing him in the film, and still mourning his death. It's going to be a very emotional and odd experience to see that there. But to speak about Green Room here for a minute or two, it's a really good movie. I spoke about it in my Blu-ray news video, but it's a really good thriller. It's a really good survivalist graphic thriller that has such a great focus on the tension, the terror of the situation. Also, it builds up very solid characters in the whole thing, and Anton Yelchin does a very exceptional performance in the film, including someone like Patrick Stewart and a whole slew of other people. Everyone in the cast is so exquisitely solid, and such a very well-directed film from the director of a film called Blue Ruin. I just, guys on Screen Junkies, threw up an interview between their guys and Yelchin and the film's director in honor of that and this terrible, tragic event and everything. So I watched that, and it was just like, it's even harder. The more you see about it, the more the vibrance, the enthusiasm, the excitement he had about doing projects like that and everything, and just, again, being involved in a film I just saw a few weeks ago that was really damn good, really tight, well-directed, exceptionally well-acted film, and just everything on such very strong levels on all fronts in that film. It's such a good film that regardless of this event, you should definitely check it out if that is your type of genre to check out, because it is a very, very good film that will be hitting home video release in just a couple of weeks here in the month of July. And I definitely implore you guys, if you, like I said, if you do enjoy that type of genre, I definitely highly recommend seeing the film, because it is a very, very good film. It might be a little hard to watch, knowing what has just happened here tragically again, but it's worth seeing because he obviously had a lot of passion for the project. He was very much enthusiastic about it and put forth a very good job as an actor in that film, committing himself to some great stuff. And just like, it's worthwhile that, whatever the case, it's worthwhile to see his work and celebrate it. And if you do enjoy it, to definitely spread that around to make sure that the work that he did as an actor, as an artist, continues to be propagated throughout the masses and everything. So, and also, like I said, we'll be seeing him in Star Trek Beyond, which that new trailer did a whole lot for me. The marketing campaign that they're putting out now has really got me excited. I'd really like to see it, because I'm being very, very high on Star Trek lately, because things get a little rough in life. Star Trek is my comfort content and whatnot. It's what I go to. It's just like, it's very easy, especially Next Generation. It's just easy for me to just sink myself into that very familiar, warm, inviting type of programming and whatnot, and just go into that. And I'll get into something later. It's a little bit Star Trek related, but continue on. It's going to be a bit of an odd transition, talking about this very heavy-hearted, tragic event and this very dark and gritty film. But it just, as much as darkness and tragedy seeks into life, we do need our happiness. We do need our laughs. We do need our humor. And one of the guys who does it very, very well is Shane Black, who maybe people know from stuff like writing as a writer on Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout. He directed and wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Iron Man 3 for people who did like it. I'm not a fan of it. But he did, had a recent release called The Nice Guys, which was as you would expect from a Shane Black film, a buddy comedy action picture. Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe. Also had Matt Bomer in there as a really fantastic slick assassin. But it's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's the top tier of Shane Black's work, but it's as reliable as you can imagine from his type of work, that it has every bit of all of his sensibilities, all his little kind of touches and whatnot, because you get a lot of buddy comedies. They're of all varying qualities, but Shane Black is one of those guys who, with his screenwriting, is always able to add in that extra layer of depth with his characters. He always takes that time to be careful, put some care into his characters, really kind of develop them, add a little more depth and sentimentality and whatnot towards them, and just like there's always that touch in it that really just says that's Shane Black, everything that he does, and I really enjoyed this movie. And it is. I saw this in a very comfortable leather seat at a theater, and it was very almost too comfortable, but it was a fun film. I really want to see it again, but sadly, the box office didn't do too well for it, so it really scattered out of theaters pretty quickly. But there's always home video to look forward to, and I thought the chemistry of everything was very spot on, and Ryan Gosling was so good, just playing up this fantastic private detective in 1970s LA, and he's just he's not the bravest type of guy. He's a bit of a bumbling fool, but he plays it so exquisitely well, and Russell Crowe just being kind of big burly Russell Crowe, and just like it was just really, really good. I had a fun time with it. The action was wonderful. The comedy was just so absolutely fantastic. I just love every beat of the film. It was just a real joy to just sit there and enjoy the whole film, and just like I like enjoying this type of stuff. A little bit of 70s LA noir with a little bit of edges sleaze with the porno industry and stuff like that. It's a nice little mix of everything. So it's like I really enjoyed it. If you like Shane Black's work, definitely check it out when you get the chance. It's like I said, it's not like the Last Boy Scout level, but it's nice, solid, familiar, but also so fresh type of stuff from Shane Black that none of his stuff ever feels tropey or cliche or whatnot. You can see the touches that he has, his signature stuff, but it always feels fresh. It always feels like it has a certain energy behind it, that he's always passionate about what he's doing. So I would definitely say go see The Nice Guys. You'll probably have to grab it on like disc or digital HD or whatnot, but definitely give it a shot. Just lay back, relax, have a good time. And speaking of like summer box office, because there's been a lot of stuff that just really hasn't been performing terribly well, and I certainly have my own opinions based on other stuff that people have kind of thrown around here and there, and like there's been some stuff that's come out that's not really generated the box office that people expected probably would. These stuff like the Ninja Turtle sequel and a couple other things, and of course X-Men Apocalypse. And it's one of those films, because I don't know by now, Days of Future Past was my favorite film of 2014. I've got the road cut, I've got the theatrical cut. I love the film, I think it's fantastic. And but I went to X-Men Apocalypse after hearing all the word of mouth, kind of this side and that side and everything. I was a little bit in the middle on it, because the film has good stuff, like Michael Fassbender. God damn, this man is a friggin' treasure, and as hell is like Michael Fassbender. Every second he's on screen and bringing that presence, that sort of pathos, the character of Magneto, the emotion, all the stuff that just kind of injects into the character. It's just so potent and so exquisitely well acted. It just carries those moments so damn well. And it's like, if you give me a solo Magneto movie at this point, it's just like, that's all I really need. Because you could carry the movie, there's no problem. You could carry it in his sleep. But But there's some good stuff. The Quicksilver scene I absolutely loved. But there's a lot of people have a lot of criticism for the film, and I do too, because it is a really disjointed film. It really kind of scatters a lot of threads all over the place that don't really connect up until the end, and it's not really terribly organic how it does it. And there's a lot of things that go this way, things that go that way, and or all around the main plot. And there's scenes in the film that don't really need to be there. The whole Weapon X Wolverine cameo could be completely written out of the film. It wouldn't affect the story at all. It's just there to be there, and you don't need to have it there. It's just there because if you can tease a little bit of Wolverine in the film, that generates a little extra buzz for the box office. But it's just like, it's just one of those films that you kind of want to like, but I don't feel a compulsion to ever need to have to watch the film again. And it's like very interesting. It's just very interesting because I was on Hulu watching some of the animated series of X-Men just yesterday. And it's like I was watching the Phoenix Saga, and I watched the Beyond Good and Evil series, mini-series of sorts on there with Apocalypse, with a whole bunch of time traveling type of stuff and various other things. And it's like, why is it that this storyline, this like 3 or 4 episode storyline in this cartoon just feels so much better than the movie? Well, for one thing, when you're in like a 22-minute cartoon, you got no time for frivolous crap. You gotta be lean, straightforward, straight to the point. Just go tight. The entire thing has to go on a tight pace. Keep it going. Keep it moving forward. It's a fantastic pace. No time to throw in frivolous little scenes of people being like meta or whatnot about the third film in the trilogy or something like that. Walking out of Return of the Jedi for like 30 seconds to have a frivolous moment of the film that amounts to jack shit. Has nothing to do with anything in the film. It's just some stupid little commentary thing they're trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge at you at the film. So it's like, that series, tight, concise, straight to the point. And as much as I absolutely love Oscar Isaac, the more I see him, the more I absolutely love him. He's the only thing that really adds anything of depth to the character of Apocalypse in this movie, because as it's written, it just lacks a certain something. Because, again, watching the cartoon series from the 90s, what gives that version of Apocalypse the weight and the gravity that he has, the magneticism he has, such an interesting character? It's like they give you a sense of motivation, where he comes from in terms of his philosophy, his ideology. What is it that creates him to be such an interesting character that you want to keep seeing over and over again? These storylines, it's just because he has a certain depth to him. There's a little bit more put into the fabric of the character to make you understand where he comes from, why he's doing certain things, all this type of stuff. Basically, the things that go into making a very dimensional character are very much present in that animated series version, where I felt like the one in X-Men Apocalypse really just didn't quite have that to him. It's like you have something fantastic like Magneto there that has all the depth in the universe, while you got Apocalypse who's just like there to cause destruction, and you don't know terribly much about why he's doing what he's doing. When you see that animated version of Apocalypse, you definitely get the sense that he wants to create a superior race, a certain superiority about things. He wants to inject order out of chaos, stuff like that. You get a certain sense of what he's all about. One in the movie just didn't feel like you really kind of understood what he was, and obviously by the end of the film, if you don't want spoilers, I'm going to tap out for about half a minute here, is that by the end of the movie, he's just dispatched of this disposable villains. Like, this character in so many different mediums has been this omnipresent type of invincible character that you just cannot get rid of. And in the movie, he's just obliterated. He's just vaporized by the Phoenix power or whatnot that lies deep within Jean Grey, which apparently they're trying to want to redo the Dark Phoenix saga. It's like, no, there's so many damn X-Men stories. I know you want to retcon, you want to fix Last Stand, but even then, the original Phoenix saga is so much better. I would love to see the Shi'ar Empire, the Emkron Crystal, Lilandra, all this stuff, the Starjammers. I'd love to see them do a big like X-Men space opera with all this grandiose type of stuff. I would love to see that in a live action movie. Give me that. That'd be fantastic stuff. I don't really care about the Dark Phoenix stuff. It's just like I'm not that interested in it. I was trying to watch the storyline they did with the cartoon. It's like even the first episode, I really wasn't that interested. I just kind of tapped out, went off to Beyond Good and Evil, which I watched so many times, and it's still good every single time. And just like, whatever the case, it's just like, in general, X-Men Apocalypse was just like, there was so many disjointed elements that just kind of like, because they were trying to set up and introduce and reintroduce so many characters and set up all this different stuff that it kind of felt little TV movie-ish, a little TV pilot-like, because it feels like they're trying to set up like a half a dozen different storylines, like introduce Weapon X, Wolverine, and introduce Nightcrawler, introduce Psylocke, and introduce all this other stuff and whatnot. And it feels like you're setting up all this stuff to be kind of like developed and paid off and run out later, like the next 20 episodes or something like that. Just like, it didn't feel like there was a great sense of focus and cohesion in the storyline. It's an okay movie, and it's like my friend CJ, actor I had on The Fixer and a few other things, just kind of messaged me on Facebook, and he was like asking me which movie is better, probably because he was looking to go to one or the other, X-Men or Captain America. And I said Captain America is the better movie, and that's what I can say. Is like, regardless of how disappointed I felt with my expectations for Civil War, I can still objectively look at it and say that is a better made movie. It's a more focused movie. It's more on the money. It's more streamlined. It's probably a much more pleasing film for a lot of people. A little bit more action, a lot more characters. It's just more focused film that just didn't meet what I wanted from the film. But objectively, it is the better film over X-Men Apocalypse from my viewpoint. Now, I'd be interested in seeing Civil War again. Give it another shot. Let's sink in. But X-Men Apocalypse just felt like I don't really need to see it again, because a lot of stuff, like the Weapon X stuff, we've seen the origins so many damn times. We don't need to see it again. Just get it out of here. Just whatever the case, it just like I could go on for eons and eons and eons there, but we're getting fairly long in this whole thing, and another sequel, because like I said, there's a interesting type of thing with all these sequels coming out, and people thinking the box office is getting really tired of the sequels. The audiences they're getting sequelitis. They're tired of them. But this one weekend where I saw two different sequels, one was okay, the other one was absolutely fantastic, is that I went to see Now You See Me Too. And I saw the first film, and I really enjoyed it. I did a written review of it at the time. I didn't do a video review, but I wrote a review of it, and it's like, it's an enjoyable film. If you get a few minutes into it, you're getting hooked in with the characters, just relax yourself, because if you're going to look at this film with critical eyes, it's going to fall apart. And just one of those films, just like you got to get laid back, enjoy the ride, and just like be entertained. And I very much enjoyed the film. I really need to rewatch it again, just I got a bit of the bug to do that, but went to see the sequel, and again, bit of a wonky type of thing. There's a few things that felt a little disjointed. Another thing to say again, and it was a little bit disjointed. It didn't feel quite as well directed and well put together as the first film. There are a couple of the new characters. They kind of started out a little bit obnoxious because they're a little too much to handle at first. And I was glad that they kind of got a little bit more toned down, a little bit more used sparsely as the film went on, to not have that so much on point, because if it was all on all the time, it was going to be insufferable. But like I said, it's a little bit disjointed, a little bit wonky here and there. I didn't feel like it was as slick and as streamlined as the first film was, with Louis Leterrier's direction of that film. This is from the guy who directed G.I. Joe Retaliation, which the theatrical version of that film was a horribly disjointed mess. I thought it was a horribly done film. Extended version they put out later was much more coherent and cohesive. I still really didn't care that much for the film overall, so it's like, seeing his name as in the credits as director, I didn't have a whole lot of high hopes, but It was a film. It was nice to have seen. It was good. It was alright. It was okay. It was just okay. Film can be okay and just enjoy it and just forget about it as time goes on. So it's like, it was alright. It has some nice things, but it wasn't great. It wasn't as clever or as fresh or whatnot as the first film. And whatever the case, that's about all I can really say about it. But the same weekend as that came out, we got The Conjuring 2, and if there is any hint of a fall off from the first film from James Wan, it's about like the sliver of anything, because this movie terrified the shit out of me. The movie is so fucking good. It's just The Conjuring 2. Because the first film, when I left that theater after the credits rolled and everything, my heart wouldn't stop pounding in its chest. I was terrified by that film, and it was not quite as terrifying, but the quality is still so damn high with what James Wan brings to this film. It is fucking phenomenal. The acting in the film is top notch. Again, putting forth the same depth of substance with these characters. Everyone that populates the film, there's such a great focus on character. And I love a horror film that just takes the time to develop the characters. You can feel so much for these people as these terrifying things befall them. And just, we have like Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson helming the film as the leads. You've got two fantastic actors. They did such an incredible job with the first film. They do such a great job, just an equally great job with this film. Everyone they cast in the film, everyone that they write characters for, everyone they write for, everything in the film is just on such a immaculate level. The terror, the suspense that James Wan is just an absolute goddamn master of. More people need to learn from this man how to just do these types of films, because we get so many, at least what I hear of, I don't bother seeing a lot of these films because they don't appeal to me, because it seems so many horror movie directors just want to do the jump scares. Stuff just jumps out of nowhere and spooks the crap out of you. Takes no talent. Anyone can fucking do that. A 5-year-old can do that. It doesn't take talent and skill to do jump scares. It takes talent and skill to do suspense and atmosphere and just ratchet up the tension so damn much. The terror. Even scenes that just like, it's just the two characters talking and just talking about the most terrifying shit. Just mood all over the place. Everything. The direction quality of James Wan is unparalleled today in the horror genre, just from what I've seen. The guy is such a fantastic master of it, and this film is another glowing example of what the guy can do in this genre. And he is such a hot property, producing television series, directing Fast and Furious movies, getting Aquaman. He's getting tentpole action films. This guy is a fantastic talent on everything he does. And even from what people tell me is like, even his stuff that doesn't quite measure up as well as his best stuff is still very much high above a lot of people's A game. So it's like, even when this guy doesn't have his A game on, his B game is like leagues above other people's A game. So it's like, the guy still delivers some very high grade stuff regardless of what it is. So it's like, seeing this film, it's just like, even with having a few things on my mind that were kind of pulling my attention away from the film, I was still terrified the shit. I imagine if I was just undivided attention 100% through the whole film. Shit, man. I mean, even then, regardless of that, the film is just terrifying as shit. Just like, oh my God. It's one of the best films I've seen this year, man. It's just like, absolutely, just fucking hate Conjuring 2, man. It's just like, when you have a horror sequel that just has maybe just the slightest bit downtick from the first film, and in no real negative way, just like, it's not as terrifying as the first film, but it's still fucking terrifying as shit. It's such a good film, just like, again, the quality of the writing and the direction, the acting quality is so fucking good. Everything else just crafts your frightening experience. God damn, I saw this in the afternoon and I was terrified. Oh, Conjuring too, man. Just if you've not seen it, go see it. It's like this proves Conjuring 2's reception as box office proves that it's not the sequels that are exhausting audiences, because when you get a sequel like this, still a name director with very reliable track record, a guy who has a great track record with very, very positive reviews, great buzz, solid trailers, solid marketing. The film only made maybe a few $1 million less than the first film on its opening weekend. I mean, like $3 million less than the first film did 3 years ago. People will still turn out in droves to see something when they see the name brand, they see the quality of the people ahead of it, and just see a really good marketing campaign to push it forward, and great reviews for it as well. They will go out and see it. But when you get a bunch of stuff like Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows or X-Men Apocalypse, where the buzz is very kind of down and whatnot, or they have a first film that doesn't kind of go over very well, and they make a sequel and no one turns out for it, stuff like that. It's all about the track record. It's all about the reception. Critics still do matter. A lot of people ask, do critics still matter these days with all the other stuff? Seeing that there are exceptions, like Transformers movies, as bad as they get reviewed, still make over $1 billion a piece. There's exceptions. There's always going to be exceptions, but for in general, at least what we're seeing in the beginning of the summer movie season, it definitely seems like audiences are paying attention, because damn ticket prices keep going up at the theaters. The Marcus Theaters that's like 5 minutes away from my house, a matinee ticket is over $10. Fuck. I don't like going there anymore because the damn ticket prices are too damn high. If I go to the AMC Showplace, which is about 15 minutes away down the highway, even the evening price is like $2 or $3 cheaper than their matinee price. That's why I keep using my AMC subs card all the time. Or even if I go to a Cinemark theater all the way out in Joliet, still cheaper prices. So it's like I'm willing to go further. It might cost me a little more, and it's more of the principle of the thing. It's like I'd rather just drive a little further and go to a place that I also extremely well like, and just like not feel like they're ripping me off with money with the ticket price. It just feels ridiculous how much they're charging these days in some places. So it's like, people, ticket prices keep going up. Here we're going to be a lot more selective about what they go and see. They're not going to go, if they see something that has some pretty bad reviews or pretty underwhelming reviews, they might pass. I was like, well, I can wait 3-4 months to get it on a Redbox, or wait for Amazon Video or Netflix to pick it up. They can wait. If they're already paying for another service or a Redbox that costs $2, it's better than paying like $12 to go to the theater or whatnot, or that's just for the ticket. Who knows if they're going to buy concessions, if they're bringing one or two other people along. It's going to be like $50 to go out to see a movie with a bunch of people. Wait a few months, catch the freaking thing on a rental, and you get it for like 1/10 of the cost. So it's like, the prices are going to continue to go up. You're going to be a lot more selective. So they're going to look at the critic scores. They're going to look at Rotten Tomatoes. They're going to look at Entertainment Weekly, or they're going to watch whoever it is on YouTube that they follow and see what they feel about the film and make a decision. Like, is it really worth putting down this much money to go out to the theater to see a film that may not be that good? That might be throwing away a lot of money, and it might not be worth it. So people might be just being a little bit more conscientious about exactly, and very picky about what they're seeing. I think that's possibly just the most practical explanation about why some of these supposed tentpole films are not doing terribly well. And maybe it's also a little bit of just how they're scheduling out the summer here. At the beginning of it, it's like there's not a lot of variety. There's like a lot of R-rated comedies coming out in clusters. There's a lot of sequels coming out at the same time. A lot of franchise fear coming out at the same time. So kind of sprinkling it out and spraying it out. It's like, I even thought the Ninja Turtles film wasn't coming out for like another 2 months. Not that I had any interest in really seeing it, but I wasn't even aware it was coming out in early June. So it's like, all this stuff kind of clusters together, and you kind of lose track of stuff, and you have to be picky about what you're going to go see. I mean, a lot of people like us who are very passionate film goers, we're probably going to go to the theater like 2 or 3 times a month, but some people, They just don't have the time, or they can't spare the cash, especially if they got a big family or whatnot. They're not going to throw that much money out 2 or 3 times a month to go to the theater. They're going to be very selective about what they go to see. So like that could be, there's all very valid factors, I think, and why some of the stuff just isn't hitting off. You got to make a better movie to entice people to come into the theater. That's basically I hope that's the case, and that will hopefully force studios to put more effort into making stronger, better quality films. Obviously, everything's subjective. Someone might like X-Men Apocalypse more than they like Civil War. I mean, it's just like all this stuff. People love Batman v Superman. Other people hit it with a vile passion. So everything's subjective, but hopefully this will generate something. Maybe it won't be. Who knows? It can be any types of change. Maybe nothing will change. Fuck off if I know. I have no idea. But that's my theory and everything. And haven't been buying much in terms of Blu-rays because I've been kind of just being conservative with my money instead of going off and spending a whole bunch of cash on stuff that I can put the cash towards a more long-term type of things. But as I said, I'm very in need of Star Trek lately. I've been watching a whole bunch of it because, again, it's what I go to when I need to feel a little bit of comfort and whatnot. And so I had to get the Wrath of Khan Director's Cut Blu-ray, and I just had to. I just kept thinking about it, and I just had to get it. And it wasn't easy to track down because they didn't put this in too many retail stores. I have find it at Best Buy or Target. I had to go to a Walmart quite a bit of ways away to actually to find one of these. I just happened to stumble upon it. Decided to go into a Walmart regardless, off the beaten path, and they have about 4 copies of this there, and I just had to. I just felt like I really had to grab it for the sake of everything because it's I don't have any Star Trek Blu-rays. This is the first one I've gotten. All our stuff is DVDs, so so it was very interesting watching Wrath of Khan in Blu-ray for the first time, and let me tell you, with this 4K restoration remastering, it looks fantastic. Just first few moments, just seeing a star field just like bugging out at me. The detail is so fantastic; it's amazing. There might be some minor issues with the whole thing because people noted that there is maybe a missing line or two. It's a bit debatable, but there's a moment early on in the film during the Kobayashi Maru simulation where Sulu usually would look over his shoulder and say a line of dialogue over to Savick, but apparently that shot has been replaced with something a lot more static and budged up the continuity, because in the next shot you see Sulu, when it's facing Sulu, he turns back around, so it's like it messes up the continuity. So people are trying to talk with Paramount to see if that's what the deal is with that, and if they're going to maybe do a replacement program. And I feel like this is, aside from like the Ultra 4K HD releases, this is really the only special thing they're really doing new for the 50th anniversary of Star Trek Beyond the new movie. But this is the only like reissue, re-release type of thing they're doing. There's none of the other films getting remastered. They're just re-releasing, like repackaging old stuff over and over again. So it's like this is the only thing they've really put in new effort for the general home media market or whatnot, aside from those Ultra HD releases, which they were going to do anyway, whether it was 50th anniversary or not. Star Trek is one of their biggest cash cows, and they just launched the format a few months ago, so of course they're going to put out a couple of those films in that extremely high definition format. So, but that's really all there is with that. And did want to mention that there are a couple of videos sitting in the sort of RavensFilm archive, stuff that was shot quite a while ago and stuff shot a little bit more recently or whatnot, that it was never fully post-produced or whatnot. There's a review from about 2 years ago that I shot a review of the comedy film Clue from 1985, but at that time I had just purchased a new Asden shotgun microphone, which ultimately didn't produce a sound quality that I was very happy with, and always came out very muffled, and as much tweaking as I tried to do with it, never really came out the way I really wanted to. I was never really happy with how it sounded, and I could never get anyone to really kind of help me with tweaking it or whatnot. So been trying to do editing on it, but it's like quality of my reviews 2 years ago are not quite as up to the standards of what I do now, or what I've been doing recently with very in-depth, very all-encompassing type of stuff. It's a little more thinner in certain places. The thing would only run about 12 minutes or so, and just like it's hard to get into the groove of something that's a little bit more, not quite as in-depth, a little bit more. If I were to reshoot it now, I'd do a lot more with it. So it's like that's kind of the thing. It's like, I'm not so gung ho about it. That's basically what I'm saying, because it's not as good as I would want it to be for this point in time. But there's also earlier this year, after some time, because take a breath here. Back in February, I was trying to do a short series of vampire movie reviews. I did Fright Night and Lost Boys, and I intended to do a third. I spoke about doing a third, and I did shoot a third one, which was the Tony Scott film The Hunger. But I had gotten the Blu-ray, and I watched the film, and let's just say it did not meet with my expectations. And I kind of forced myself to power through shooting the review, but it ends up being pretty long, and I'd have to be aggressively cutting it down to be as succinct as possible. And for a film that I'm really not that passionate about, it just seems like it takes a little extra something within myself to really kind of motivate myself to aggressively edit a review of a film that I really don't care that much for. But it's a good quality review. What I put up on the camera and everything was good quality analytical stuff. It goes on for a bit longer than it probably should. And so it would take a lot of effort to edit it down if I wanted to. And back in like early May, I gotta get the drink here. Back in early May, I kind of decided to do a video that chronicled my entire TV and DVD and Blu-ray series collection, and that runs about an hour long. But I can't really have much of a defense considering how long this video is going right now. So it's just been more of a bit of an exhausting thing with that thing, because it runs an hour long, and it's just like a vlog just like this, and just trying to go through the whole thing. It's like in the last 20 minutes or so, I'd probably have to just kind of break up the editing session a little bit more, try doing it all at once, because by the end of it, I just get kind of tired of the same old process. I'm trying to find something visually interesting to slap into the video, and shorting on like this. But regardless of that, that one, hopefully I'll be able to get it out, and we'll see if time allows me to do editing on those other videos. But hopefully I will. And that's really all I got. My voice is getting a little overtaxed here. So I'll just say, guys, thanks for sticking around. We are above 1,300 subscribers now, and that's a fantastic thing. I love that. The thing keeps getting more subscribers, people keep following, commenting, and all that kind of stuff. I very much appreciate it. And like I said, can't be around here doing as much as I would like to be doing. There are things in life are demanding more attention from me than this needs to. And but you can always follow me on the social media accounts. Twitter is probably the best place, because I post all types of stuff there, both directly RavensFilm related and personally related, all things in between. Facebook, I'm a bit more separated between my own personal private account and the RavensFilm and First Mag pages, so there's a lot more divide there. But Twitter is kind of the melding of the two, where I interact the most with other people, and you really hook up with me there. And always check out RavensFilm.com. You always find out a lot about projects that you might not know of that I've been working on. There's a website that is Josh Hadley and I. We do that 1201 Beyond Video magazine that's been on hiatus for a while, because Josh has had a lot of personal life stuff that's really kind of gone off the deep end and whatnot. So it's been difficult for him to get things put together to kind of map out the episodes and get all the copy written for the voiceovers and plan the whole thing out and get all the video together. I do all the post-production type of stuff, the edit it together and assemble it, and we're equal partners and producers in it. And recently, a Night Flight website did a little article on it after we finally got this promo video put together and everything. And so RavensFilm.com, I should be having that link up sometime soon. If not, just hit up the RavensFilm Facebook or whatnot. You'll get the link to the article there. And Josh is working on some other things that we can possibly work together on. Can't say anything else because nothing's official, but let's just say we're trying to expand our partnership and everything to encompass other opportunities, and hopefully that will be very, very positive for us. So so I'm gonna leave off with that, and hoping things will begin to take a different turn in life. We'll hopefully be able to achieve the career I want to, because I definitely want to get away from what I've been doing all these years and just kind of being complacent. It's time to really kind of shake things up and get myself, apply the skills of video production and video editing and all that type of stuff into a lucrative career for myself. So that's very much where my focus is, on sprucing up my portfolio, do all the resumes type of stuff, and just apply, and do as much networking as I can. Work with people who can get me a little further along on that path, and hopefully that will work out in time. So I'll be posting about that on Twitter and everything, so follow me there. And that's it, guys. That's all I got for you at this time. I wish there was a little bit more, but that's quite plenty as it is. So post your comments below about your thoughts on any of the films I've spoken about here that I've seen recently, you've seen recently. And like I said, that whole Anton Yelchin thing is very just painful and sad, and words really can't do it justice at this point, and maybe never. So anyway, celebrate the life of the guy. If you've enjoyed his work in the past, definitely go back, rewatch the stuff, see what kind of art and light he was able to bring forward, the enthusiasm, passion that he had to contribute, and just enjoy that and celebrate what he had to offer as an artist and everything. So definitely implore you guys, go check out Green Room when it hits digital and disc and everything. So I'll see you guys soon. I'm not going away anytime soon. I'm not going to disappear. I'll always be around. So it's not the end of everything. It's just a little sparse at this time. So the goal is to get back to where I want to be, here producing videos for you guys and doing stuff that I'm very passionate about. So until then, hit me up on the social media stuff. I'll be around. Hopefully you'll be around. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.